Bullying is something that has happened to almost everyone I know. On a daily basis, people, even teachers, brush it off as kids will be kids and to just ignore it. But for anyone who has been bullied, and for those people who get called sluts and nerds on a daily basis for no reason at all, it's one of the hardest things and biggest mistakes in the world. I grew up believing no one would ever fall in love with me and that I would be alone forever. I felt that no one would ever make me feel like I was lighter than air. Being as I didn't know who I was yet, it was hard to not believe it when people called me a slut or weird. When I grew up having to hide at school, at some point I got tired. Then I got to where I didn't care what happened to me. And if a girl said something to me or tried to hit me, I would hit back. After years of dealing with this and nobody caring, I got tired of it. I realized I didn't deserve this and began to hate the people who talked about me. My life changed when I began to tell my story. When I first told my story out loud, I felt a huge relief because somebody listened to me. Suddenly my story became a part of my past and I was able to walk away from it. Today, one of my bullies told me she was sorry for being that way with me. She asked me if I wanted to be her friend. We will probably not be best friends again, but at least we will both move forward. I feel forgiveness in my heart and things are getting better. I stood up and told someone my story and that healed my heart. If this is happening to you, tell a counselor or a trusting person your story. Bullying ends with you standing up. Will you stand with me?
My favorite quote has always been, don't judge people from what they look like, because each and every one of us is fighting a war on the inside. I've always gone by this because nobody ever knew or understood what it was like to be bullied every day and to be called horrible names, ugly, fat, weird, dorky, nerdy, whatever you come up with. I was called that. I grew up thinking that no one would love me, I would never be loved or wanted or accepted, and I was an outcast. I came to terms with that freshman year and just accepted it. I didn't care if I got pushed around and beat up or whatever it took. It didn't matter to me. I just accepted everything that went on. Every punch, every yell. I just let it keep going. Eventually, I just decided that my depression was too much and that I needed to stand up. Because sitting there and just letting people bullying me wasn't gonna cut it. I needed to move on and I needed to get up and I needed to say something and stop it. I finally did. And I still stood up to the people that did bully me, and they started to stop. They started to understand what it was like.
When I was smaller, I was treated differently than others. I wasn't really into all the stuff that everyone else was into, so people thought it was strange. It got so bad that even some family members that I went to school with picked on me. My dad always told me that if anyone ever messed with me, that I shouldn't be scared to fight back. Sadly, that wasn't the best advice he gave me, but it worked. After a couple of fights, even against a cousin of mine, no one really picked on me since. Fighting is never the answer, but you can't be afraid to stand up for yourself. I stood up against my aggressors by forgiving them and sharing my story here with you today. Now the past is behind me. If you're a part of or you witness someone being a part of this vicious cycle of abuse, simply step in and ask, is everything okay here? Do you need to speak with someone? By simply stepping in and asking, you've interrupted the cycle and helped a fellow student. We all stood up. Will you stand with us?